Jharkhand has just 1,200 DPIIT-registered startups, which admittedly isn't a lot. But when I got in touch with 10 founders who are based in the state, I was really impressed by just how ambitious many of their businesses are. And apart from that, I was also pleasantly surprised to find out that a number of the entrepreneurs that we got in touch with for this video have actually been fans of Backstage with Millionaires for some time now. It was a really humbling experience to get in touch with the founders that we featured in this video and learn from them, because they're building in a state that, as far as Indian states go, just isn't really all that startup friendly. And we did reach out to all 10 of the founders who are featured in this video, so I definitely think you're going to enjoy this one. These insights are directly from the people who are building these companies, and we're going to start off in the biggest city in Jharkhand, Jamshedpur. And the first startup that I want to talk about from Jamshedpur is called Karlosi Technologies. This company was founded all the way back in 2020 by Akhtarul, Iman, and Aiman Badar, but it was only in 2023 that they started Parkosi. And as the name suggests, this business is built around the problem here in India of parking. Akhtarul shared this really shocking statistic with me. 2 crore cars need parking in India every single day, and India only has 10 lakh legal parking spots in the entire country. So what happens to the remaining 1.9 crore cars? Well, most people just have no option but to park their cars on the side of the road, which is sort of an illegal gray zone. And so Akhtarul and Iman decided to solve this problem with Parkosi, and the way that they're planning on solving it is pretty innovative. With Parkosi, they're essentially creating an Airbnb for car owners, because there are millions of people who take their cars to the office every single day, and during that time, their home parking is totally empty. Parkosi allows you to list your parking spot on their app, and anybody who might be in your area and needs a parking spot can go on Parkosi and book your spot. This solves the problem of parking and also allows you to monetize your unused parking space, so it's a win-win for everybody. Now, so far they've only been operating in one location in West Bengal since January of 2024, but in the first 3 months of this business, they've already generated revenue worth 10 lakh rupees from their users. Akhtarul told me that they're already in conversation with municipal corporations across Mumbai, Guwahati, and also their own city, Jamshedpur, to make this a reality across the country. Now, while Parkosi is based in the city of Jamshedpur, the first city that they started their operations in, of course, was Kolkata. However, the next company on this list was started by a founder who dropped out of college, went on a solo backpacking trip across Southeast Asia, and when he came back to India, he came to Jamshedpur and he started his company called Herbino. Ankit Pratap Singh was pursuing travel journalism, but doing so, he was sitting at a desk at his university in the United States, and he was asking himself, how can I learn about travel journalism inside of a 4-walled room? So he decided to drop out and went on that solo backpacking trip across Southeast Asia that I mentioned earlier, where he was fascinated by how island nations were promoting plastic-free living. Then later on, Ankit tried to get transferred from the United States to the Czech Republic to continue his travel journalism, but his student visa never came through, and then the COVID-19 pandemic hit, and so he was stuck at home. But even though he was in lockdown, Ankit didn't waste any time. He started researching how he could use biomaterials to create eco-friendly and sustainable products, and that's when he discovered hemp. Hemp is a wonder plant that can be used in a lot of different situations. It can be used in food, it can be used to build houses, and even clothes. And hemp uses 50% less water than cotton and doesn't need pesticides to grow, making it a great alternative to cotton-based clothes. Now, even though hemp is an ancient material and it's basically been used since the beginning of time, in the modern world, it's considered to be a new industry, and it's making more than 25,000 products. And so when Ankit started Herbino in 2021, he was making custom hemp fabrics on a paid pilot basis, and this ensured that he was getting money while figuring out the right product for Herbino to focus on long term. Now, when I spoke to Ankit, he told me that hemp is actually a non-psychoactive plant that's regulated under India's National Drugs and Psychotropic Substance Act, and it's already being legally grown in Uttarakhand as well. Ankit is currently working on spreading awareness about this act and also wants to get more states across the country to make hemp cultivation legal. Now, with his business Herbino, he's helping customers source hemp directly from farmers who are using hemp for everything from developing biodiesel to building houses. And in FY24, they've made revenue through paid market pilots and are expecting to cross 1 crore rupees in annual revenue run rate by the end of FY25. Now, while Ankit had to travel across Southeast Asia to figure out his startup idea, the next founder in this list, Jaxo James, only had to visit his family in Kerala. See, Jaxo's family has deep roots in Kerala, but he grew up with his parents in Jamshedpur. Because of this, Jaxo grew up speaking Hindi fluently, but he could never speak Malayalam, even though he could understand the language. And this became a problem every time he went to visit his family back in Kerala. Then later on, he faced a similar problem when he went to Kolkata for his internship in 2021. And so one day he just opened up the Duolingo app with the hopes of learning both Malayalam and Bengali, but to his surprise, he couldn't find either one of these languages on Duolingo. In fact, he couldn't find any Indian languages on most of these popular language learning apps apart from Hindi, despite the fact that Bengali, for example, is the 5th most spoken language in the world. So then Jaxo tried using a different option by learning using Indian apps. But these apps, in his opinion, had a different problem because they were designed poorly and the content just was not engaging enough to learn with. And it was at this point that he realized that the Indian language learning ecosystem was broken. And so by 2022, he had researched language learning techniques, and in August of 2023, he started building Portal.Learn with a focus on Indian languages. They very recently launched their app in March of 2024, and in the first month of their launch, they already had 63 users. And the very next month, this number had jumped up to 250. Now, while the app is completely free for users right now, Jaxo is planning on launching paid subscription plans in the future once he has enough users on the platform. Now, while Portal.Learn is still very much in scrappy startup mode, trying to figure out their monetization, the next company on this list has already figured out their monetization, and it's looking like they're going to be closing FY25 with 12 crore rupees in revenue while also saving lives. See, 1.5 lakh people, 150,000 people die on Indian roads every single year, and the biggest reason behind these deaths is tired drivers. And so back in 2021, Aditya Tiwari started Goat AI with the goal of making roads safer and fleet operations more efficient. But how exactly is Goat AI doing this? Well, they've built a flagship product called G-Fleet, which is basically a combination of 6 high-definition cameras along with their advanced algorithms, which are constantly monitoring both drivers and their surroundings. G-Fleet then sends out alerts if drivers aren't paying attention or falling asleep at the wheel, and it can even detect potential collisions before they happen so that drivers can take action and avoid them. Today, Goat AI is supplying their technology to companies like Siemens, Tata Steel, and Tata Motors through a distributor right in Jamshedpur. Their technology is being used in more than 700 vehicles, helping them to make 1 crore rupees in revenue in FY24. And Aditya has told me that they've already received inquiries for more than 15,000 vehicles from Saudi Arabia and Riyadh who want to use G-Fleet. And he's expecting to close FY25 with 12 crore rupees in revenue, all from the city of Jamshedpur, while building a bootstrapped business. Okay, now let's make our way over to the capital city of Jharkhand, which is Ranchi, and all of the remaining companies in this list are based in that city. And the first one I want to talk about is Onpery. Back in 2018, while pursuing his Bachelor of Design at MIT Institute of Design in Pune, Pramod Priya Ranjan started working with an NGO to redesign a sanitary napkin incinerator. And it was while working on this project that he met Professor Nachiket Thakur, who was his guide. And during his research, Pramod learned that even though menstrual cups are the most hygienic, economical, and sustainable menstrual products in the market, they have a very low adoption rate amongst Indian women. And so in 2019, he partnered with Professor Nachiket and they started working on redesigning menstrual cups, and after their first prototype, they were ready in December of 2019 to start Onpery to validate their product. After a year of testing, they finally launched this menstrual cup in 2021, and since then they've launched multiple innovative and sustainable feminine hygiene products, from reusable and adjustable period underwear to reusable pads. And even though they are selling their products directly to customers, most of their sales to this day still come from B2B clients through CSR initiatives and NGOs. And Pramod told me that they've already raised more than 1.3 crore rupees, all of which has come in the form of grants and prize money to develop their products. Pramod also got a special mention in Forbes 30 Under 30 in the design category for the innovative work that he's done on Onpery. Now, speaking of innovative design, this next company is promoting traditional Jharkhand clothing, and this company is called Johargram. Clothing from this company has been worn by the likes of MS Dhoni and also Jharkhand's former CM Hemant Soren. So today this company is known as a sustainable streetwear brand, but when the business was started in 2020 by Ashish Satirvatsahu, they were just focused on making masks for the COVID-19 pandemic. And also when they were first getting up and running, they were only selling regionally, and that's the reason they only made about 5 to 6 lakh rupees in their first year of operations. Today though, in 2024, they aren't just selling their products in India, but also internationally because there's so much demand for products like, for example, their Kukna caps and their Pidna bomber jackets. Now, Ashish told me that they're expecting to bring in between 1.5 and 2 crore rupees in revenue in FY25. And what's interesting about this business is that they've really built a truly D2C brand where most of their sales are actually coming from their own website, and they've done all of this profitably while sitting in a tier 2 city, which of course is Ranchi. Now, while Johargram was started fairly recently in 2020, this next company was started more than a decade ago in 2012. This company is called 366 Pi, and it was founded by Amitesh Anand and Sushant Bharti. But the product that I actually want to talk about today, FloCard, which is from this company, was launched in 2022. On the face of it, FloCard is a pretty simple product. It's kind of like Linktree, or a digital business card that can store all of your details and be shared online. But unlike Linktree, FloCard is a literal tree. So let me explain what that means. Every time you sign up for and create your own FloCard, they plant a tree for you, and you can actually see this tree grow. And I'll be honest, at first this idea sounded kind of unbelievable to me, but then Amitesh explained it to me and now it kind of makes sense. See, there are NGOs that need money to plant trees. And then on the other side of this equation, there are enterprises that need to achieve their sustainability goals. And so FloCard basically just connects these two, allowing enterprises to finance green initiatives like planting trees. And you as a user get to see and track one of these trees. And so it's pretty incredible that Amitesh and his team have found a way to build a business while making the world a cleaner and greener place. And today there are 7 companies who are already using FloCard to achieve their sustainability goals. All right, moving on now to the next company in this list. This business is actually a partner of FloCard's, and it's called the Open Field. Founded by husband-wife duo Kumar Abhishek Aron and Dr. Manisha Aron, along with Pratik Topo in 2021, the Open Field is offering employment opportunities to Jharkhand's tribal communities while building a profitable agro-tourism business. And the reason they wanted to focus on tribal communities was because they themselves come from a tribal background and were well aware of the lack of opportunities in these communities. So here's how the Open Field works. They have partnered with around 30 tribal farmers who are working across 3 farming clusters throughout Jharkhand. And then all of the produce that's generated from this farming is sourced by the Open Field, which is then used to serve authentic tribal cuisine to their customers in a truly farm-to-table experience. Now, while the Open Field is helping tribal people to find work through their initiative, the next company on this list from Ranchi is helping working professionals to find affordable accommodation. The story begins when Rituraj was studying in Patna, and he found it difficult to find affordable hostels there, and so he partnered with his seniors and teachers to launch a hostel aggregator platform called Go for Rooms, and this was back in 2017. But it was while running this hostel aggregator that Ritu discovered something interesting. It was actually working professionals who are seeking out their hostels more than students. This insight resulted in him pivoting his business to launch Oho Living, with home-like services catering to working professionals. Ritu started this business in 2019 with just 8 beds in Ranchi, and the way he was able to afford this was with his semester fees, which is what he started Oho Living with, but within the first month he was able to fill out all of his rooms. He was later joined by his other co-founders, Saurabh Kumar and Prakar Minocha, and since then they've been doubling their business every single year. Today they have more than 500 beds across Ranchi and Patna, and they made 2.3 crore rupees in revenue in FY24, and they're expecting this number to go up to 5 crore rupees by FY25. Okay, we have finally reached the final company in this video, but before I tell you about that business, if you haven't already subscribed, make sure to do that right now. Also, hit the like button, it helps us out quite a bit. And also, I'd love to hear from you in the comments what you thought of this video and which of the companies that I've talked about so far was your favorite. All right, now without further ado, the last company from Ranchi is Puresh Daily. They began their entrepreneurial journey by selling custom software for businesses. And while working on a project for a milk processing company in Jharkhand, they realized how many chemicals were going into the milk that they were drinking, and it was at that moment that they knew what they really wanted to do. And so they pooled some money together, bought 2 cows, and started a dairy business in 2019. And this was the start of Puresh Daily, and the idea was pretty simple. They'd grow their own organic feed for cows and get chemical-free milk and dairy products for their customers. Today, they have 17 farms and 120 cows, and they're selling their their dairy products to more than 1,500 daily customers. And while they started with just 12 lakh rupees in revenue in their first year of business, today they're making 3.6 crore rupees in revenue while operating a profitable business across tier 2 and tier 3 cities in Jharkhand. If you're watching this video from Jharkhand, then definitely leave a comment down below and let us know that that's where you're consuming our content from. And also, if you want to check out the videos that we made about the top 10 startups from Bihar, from West Bengal, and Odisha, you can find links to those videos in the top right corner of your screen. All right, I will catch you in the next one.